All right. Welcome to the post-game show. This is the Showtime Forum post-game report. This is Devon Johnson. Come on into the room, guys. We have a lot to talk about. Of course, tonight was another win, but if I could describe this game in one word, it would be weird. It was a weird game, odd game, ugly game, but we won. Okay, I think this is the first time in all of the road games that we've done that we were held under 100 points. At the same time, we seem to have done something right because we held the Magic underneath 90 points. But they're ranked 26th in the league when it comes to offense. And so it's kind of expected. It's a really crazy game. Really crazy game. But nonetheless, we won the game. That's the part that matters the most. Let's run through some of the things that were extremely odd in the game. Of course, and let's go with Anthony Davis, who did hit a 3 tonight, took 4 attempts, but he also took 20 shot attempts tonight and only hit 6 shots. He finished with, I think, about 15 or 16 points. I could be off. With 16 points. Yeah, that's what I thought. He was almost perfect from the free throw line, but he only got to the free throw line twice tonight, which is really strange. He had 12 rebounds, which is good, but that 16 points and going 6 of 20 is strangely odd for him. I mean, it's one of those things where you know he's going to have some up and down nights, but that's an interesting stat. On the flip side, though, the balance of that, LeBron James did have a triple-double tonight. He had a triple-double going in. He played 38 minutes, and AD played 37 minutes, which against a team like Orlando on the road, you really don't want that. You really want them to be right around the 30-minute mark. You want them resting towards the end of the fourth, not having all that pressure on them to produce. But LeBron had 25 points. Once again, his assists were at through the roof at 10, and he had 11 assists, and I think 11 rebounds, and the majority of those rebounds were happening in the first half. But just a really strange game for that duo. They did put together a pretty good game. But the real warriors, I want to say, of the game, and the real the balance benders of the game were KCP and Jared Dudley with their three-point shooting. KCP tonight was 4 of 7 from 3, and it was almost like all of them that he made were from the corner. So now we know KCP is a corner 3 shooter, and then Jared Dudley was just clutch all the way across. He was 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Only had 9 points, but the key part for most Laker fans, if you watched, was watching Jared Dudley get in the middle of that scuffle, getting the ejection, but making sure that and listen, he got into a scuffle protecting Dwight Howard, not AD, not LeBron, which lets you know his mentality is any of my teammates are equal to me. And if you have a problem with them, you have a problem with me. And this is a far cry from what we saw. No disrespect to the Lonzo and the Josh and the Brandon Ingram, but of course we saw a couple of those scuffles pop off. And it's just, Lonzo was indifferent. Put the ball down, walked over to the bench, didn't even go over. And regardless of what you feel about, I don't want to get suspended, doesn't make sense. It's good to have a veteran who tells you in the beginning of the preseason, if you mess with my boys, go ahead and get ready to find me because it's going down. And you got to love that. You got to love that. So watching Jared Dudley and KCP pick up production, pick up momentum, pick up morale and energy, one from the starting lineup, one off the bench. When AD and LeBron were struggling, it's a good sign. Alex Caruso was pretty good tonight. He only had 7 points, but listen, I mean, he's more of like the 7 to 10 point a game average, but he had 6 rebounds tonight, and I think that's great. I think him being able to rebound as a guard coming in off the bench is going to be crucial. Another part that worries me was JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee only played 14 minutes tonight. He was perfect from the field, 3 of 3. But I think the biggest issue was that he had 4 personal fouls. And I talked about this before, but his inability to be able to guard other guards or quick forwards who are able to move in the post, drive in the post, and not slide his feet to keep with him. Normally, most of JaVale's damage is done on the catch-up, where he's able to recover and try to block the shot. But that's generally now where guards are going to be looking for contact, drawing the foul, and that's how he ends up in foul trouble, only playing 14 minutes. I think he could have been valuable. Down the stretch. Dwight Howard had 18 minutes, so he only had a little bit more than JaVale McGee, but they were having some issues. Both bigs were in the negative of the plus-minus. They were -3 for JaVale, -2 for Dwight, which, once again, we're not putting all of our stock in plus-minus, but when you have guys like this who are known for rebounding, known for block shots, generally their defense helps to contribute to the plus minus in a much more positive way. Tonight, they both only had one block. I'm sorry, I take that back. JaVale had no blocks. Dwight had one block. Which is not good. You want your bigs, especially when their primary role is not to score as much as it is to block and to stop people from getting into the paint. And so, it's one of those things. And it's the start of a road trip. God knows it's going to be a long road trip for us. We have a lot of huge games coming up, and one of these games are going to be expected. I didn't expect it to be as crazy as it was, but nonetheless, we pulled it out. Now, listen, we had I think the biggest issue that we saw was that there was a very large lead. We were killing them in the beginning, and right around the mid of the second quarter, things just started to trail off a little bit. We allowed the Magic to get a run, and then once the run started going and the players started feeling confident and the crowd got into it, that's when you started seeing an actual competitive game. And this is what I've said from the beginning. Because the Lakers know they're so good, the only way to keep them in that position where they're dogs on defense and they're fluid on offense is you have to disrespect them. The minute they feel disrespected, they are going to come out and they're going to do whatever they can do to make sure that they shut you up. And so if you were watching in between commercial breaks, I was able to actually watch the live stream from the in-game feed. You can watch the cameras before, when they go to commercial break on TV. The NBA.com streams, you can watch the actual in-game in arena feed of what's going on, and you're watching the players walk back to the bench, and you're seeing the Orlando Magic saying things that clearly the Lakers could hear. And once they felt disrespected, you see LBJ waving off people, saying, "Let me go to the rim, let me go to the cup." You see Anthony Davis starting to attack more. You start seeing KCP hitting three-pointers and immediately turning around and looking at the Magic bench to remind them that I do this for a living. And that's the kind of dog that I like. I like that mentality. The unfortunate part is that it only seems to get awoken when the team decides not to lay over and not to roll over and die, but they're going to fight us. And once they decide to fight us, it feels disrespectful to the team, and then the team decides to turn on the gas. It's unfortunate that happens, but when we get double-digit leads, the goal for us is going to be, can we sustain the leads with the same passion that we started the game with? And especially on the road, these road games that we have coming up are going to be crazy. Let's get into these questions. It's going to be a quick cast tonight. It was an early game, so I think it's 6:30 back where you guys are at, back in LA. I'm here in Houston, of course. Let's talk about it. Team Black Beast, good to see you, my friends. Salute to you. The turnovers hurt us tonight, but great teams find ways to win. Great win, guys. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest key out of all of it is no matter how many things were going on with the team and how crazy the ebb and the flow of the game was, can you settle yourself when it matters? And that's what separated us from the Magic tonight. They had energy, they had shooters, they had shot blockers. Mo Bamba was in there tonight, blocked LeBron. So they had a lot of the same elements that we had, but what they didn't have was a championship pedigree. So when it got late in the game and the pressure started coming on, they started doing shots that just didn't. They were ill-advised shots. They were doing things that were completely against the basics of basketball in crunch time. They weren't holding the ball long enough, or even when we had the ball, they weren't fouling quick enough. It was just the small things that could have made this game winnable for them. They were unable to do. But great teams find a way to win, and that's what the Lakers did tonight. They found a way to win. Ironically, even with the turnovers, we actually had more personal fouls than we had turnovers. And that's the part that hurts me a little bit more. We had 13 turnovers, which in the grand scheme of things is really not a lot compared to what we normally do. But 17 fouls is bad, okay? And with that, I'll just go with the stats real quick. We were 37 of 87 from the field. So shooting 42% is pretty low for us. It's probably what contributed to us being sub 100 for the first time on the road. But our three-point percentage was slightly in the average, was 38%. We went 12 of 31, and most of that was Jared Dudley and KCP. They shot 7 of those 12. Okay, of course, LeBron hit a 3, AD hit a 3, and that stuff's all great. Troy Daniels hit a 3. I want to speak about Troy Daniels real quick because I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if it's because of his defense or because they just don't trust his shooting long term, but when Troy Daniels gets hot, he has been known to shoot the lights out. And for whatever reason, he is finding himself at the end of the bench almost all the time. he seems to have the drive and desire, and he doesn't seem to have a bad a vibe or anything. So it doesn't seem like he's perturbed or he's disheartened by not getting a lot of playing time. He only played 7 minutes tonight. But we're talking about a man who made 8 threes in a game before, right? We brought him onto the team to be a three-point shooter. He hit a 3 tonight. Of course, he only shot 2 shots and he missed 1. But the idea that he is not contributing as much as he could lends me to believe that there's something that is happening that is preventing that from being the case, especially on a night like tonight where Rondo is out, Cook is out, or Cook didn't play. You would think that Troy Daniels would get a little bit more run, but he did. He was +8 tonight. He only had 4 points, but only played 7 minutes. So 7 minutes and 4 points is okay. I'm okay with that. Alex Caruso played 28 minutes and only had 3 more points than Troy Daniels, and so I'm wondering what the issue is there. But once again, didn't matter. They won. And he did what he was supposed to do. Well, you're trash. Who won? Exactly. Lakers won. Lakers won tonight. Lake Show 231. Referees were horrible. Plenty of calls tonight that were a little bit weird, and this is what we talked about before. We said that normally in the first half, the Lakers are playing in a certain style, with LeBron running the point, and they're establishing what the referees are going to call and not are not going to call. And so by halftime, they make the adjustments about the offensive plan, and they're able to accommodate themselves a little bit better. We saw that in the game where Anthony Davis had 40 and 20. Because he was able to get to the line, they were able to adjust to what the referees were doing. But tonight, the referees were all over the place. There were clear fouls, that LeBron didn't get, that Jared Dudley didn't get, that Alex Caruso didn't get, that Anthony Davis. There were plenty of players who got blatantly fouled, so much so that Stu Lance was talking about it. And when you hear the announcer say, "Hey, that's a foul," there were offensive fouls that were committed against the Lakers were not called. And for whatever reason, the referees just didn't call it. But when the Lakers did certain things, the referees would call it. While I praise Jared Dudley for jumping into the fray and doing all that stuff, I don't think it warranted him being ejected. But he was the third person into the pile, so obviously that was going to happen. I don't think Dwight Howard should have had a technical. I didn't see why he should have got a tech. But there were just weird calls tonight, and it's going to happen. And it's going to happen in the regular season. It's going to happen in the playoffs. It's going to happen in the finals. Great teams learn how to adjust to that. And tonight, even with the odds stacked against them, the Lakers got it done, and that's all that matters. Team Black Beast, the Magic got us involved in a ragtag style of play. It turned this game upside down for us. Yeah, it did. And once again, Orlando, it's not a horrible team. They're 11-13, but they're 8-5 at home. And so they have a great momentum that comes from the crowd. Young players, right? The Mo Bambas and the Isaacs and stuff like that, and they feed off of that energy. And they're not a horrible team. We're not talking like they're like the Warriors this year, right? So they're sitting right around 500, but they're good at home. And so they were able to pull us into their style of play at home. I think if this was in Staples Center, the Lakers would have rode that momentum. Game would have been over real quick. But tonight it was in their favor, okay? And it literally pulled the mentality away from what the Lakers excel at. Now, it didn't stop the Lakers from passing. It didn't stop the team ball. But what it did do is it made the players want to prove a point as opposed to play their game. And anytime you want to prove a point, which I love, but anytime you want to prove a point, you fall into the trap of playing into the offense's hand, into the defense's hand. And so now you're doing too much, right? That's how you get accelerated turnovers. Or now you're thinking outside of your normal block zone. You're thinking outside of your normal scheme, and the defensive rotations you would normally make, you miss them. You double when you're not supposed to double. You forget to call out defensive rotations because now you're mentally locked in on trying to stop a player as opposed to locking in with the defense. Some of you guys may have heard this phrase. It's called phalanx. Okay, so that's PHALANAX. Okay, phalanx. And if you ever seen the movie 300, the idea is that we can do a whole lot to you offensively, but what we're going to kill you is that when you try to hurt us, we're all going to shield up together. If you guys saw the movie 300, that is where the Lakers defense has always shined, is that you can have a hot player, but we're not going to rely on a person to shut them down. We're going to rely on the team to shut them down. And tonight, some players got it going, and we didn't do what we normally do. Okay, and so we have to remind ourselves. And I know Frank Vogel's going to talk to him. I know Lionel Hollins. I know Jason Kidd. They're going to talk to him about, hey, you have to keep your mind set on what we've talked about prior to the battle. Don't let your passion pull you into playing outside of your style. Lake Show 231. The point spread was 7. They were trying hard. Absolutely, they were trying hard. Zed Creative. Winning habits. Let's keep them up. Not all games will be flawless. Listen, not only will not all games be flawless, we won't win every game. Okay? A lot of talk about the 73-win Warriors, and you guys have been kind of hearing the pundits talk about it over the weekend. Are the Lakers the greatest team? Are they showing themselves a historically great team? Can they be better than that? Can they win 70-plus games? The truth is that I don't think that's necessary for this team to win a championship. So I'm fully prepared for us on nights like tonight, where it may not go in our favor, we may lose. We've already lost 3 games before, so we are beatable. And so I'm not looking for it to be flawless. I'm not looking for us to win every game on out. But tonight was a good tester to set the tone for us. So as we continue on in this road trip, that we know that if listen, the Magic, we beat them, okay? But there are better teams coming up on this road trip, and we need to be prepared for that, okay? The Pacers took it to the wire today. They went crazy tonight. One of their boys went for 39 tonight in 3 quarters, okay? Against the Pacers. So we have to prepare ourselves for what's going on. Let's see here. Marquis Smith, them dudes partied last night in Orlando. Yes. Now let me tell you something that I want to bring up real quick, because this is worth talking about, okay? On this road trip, we have 2 games that are coming up that lend to that idea, okay? Now, I don't think the Lakers are a party team. I think there's enough veteran leadership in there to keep people level-headed, but the truth is these are grown men. They're going to do what they want to do. Now, there was a stat that was put out about when players have some of their worst games, and 2 of the top 5 cities where players have their worst time, and James Harden is one of these people that they use in the stat line, is Miami and Atlanta, because those are party cities, okay? Strip clubs, bars, all that stuff, okay? And so Miami is where we're going. It's the return of LeBron back to Miami again, okay? And not only that, but some of the younger players are going out there. I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. I think the Jared Dudleys and all that stuff are going to keep them in line. In Atlanta, once again, the same thing. So it's real. I know we don't like to talk about that because we only see them in the context of the court and the jersey, but these are people who have money, who enjoy spending money, and part of championship teams need to know how to stay disciplined off the court as well as on the court. So I'm really hoping on this road trip that while they're in Florida, they're not going too far off the deep end. They don't play in in Miami until Friday, so they're probably going to use tomorrow as a travel day, get some practice in, or whatever the case may be. But keep a lookout for that, okay? Because between Friday and Sunday is when they go from Miami to Atlanta, but that's a quick trip, okay? So we just got to keep our minds. But once they get to Indiana and Milwaukee, they're not partying, okay? Those aren't party cities in the wintertime, okay? But Miami definitely is. So keep that in mind. Blake St. Clair, that was a weird game. Depth-wise, it was interesting to see the lineups with a few role players out, but hopefully we don't have to experience that for long. We probably don't. And let's pause real quick to talk about Avery Bradley, who had his return tonight, which was good to see. His defense didn't really take a hit tonight. He seemed like he was back in the offensive. On the defensive side doing his thing. But I will say, it was a struggle. It was hard to watch him struggle offensively. Part of what makes Avery Bradley so valuable to the team is his ability not only to defend. I'm pulling up the box score real quick. It's his ability to defend and his ability to produce offensively and to keep the defense honest on the other end. His mid-range jumper, not really a three-point shooter, but his mid-range jumper, being able to come off of the screen, come off the picks from the big, knowing how to make the right play, driving to the cup. He's able to get to the cup fairly easy. Once he gets around that bend of the pick, he generally can get to the cup and have no problem finishing. But tonight, that was not his game tonight. He didn't really shoot. He only shot 4 times. He played 17 minutes, only shot 4 times, and only had 1 field goal. But his defense was tremendous. It was tremendous. When he was in the game, his defensive intensity was there. Now, once again, he was a starter mainly because his defense was so dynamic. Now, the issue is that KCP is not as good of a defender, but he's a far better shooter in this stretch right now. And so I'm believing. I thought when Avery Bradley came back that it was just a matter of getting him back in shape, getting his conditioning back up, getting him back integrated into the system. But now, the way KCP played tonight, I think Avery Bradley's going to have to fight for his starting job back. And I don't know how that's going to mess with his psyche because obviously this team has great cohesion, great unity. But KCP proved his point tonight, okay? He proved his point tonight. He did great on defense. There was really no issues on defense. And he was 4 of 7 from the three-point line. And that's what we need. Now, what's funny is he was a -3 in the plus-minus. This is why I feel like the plus-minus is a little bit weird. For someone who hits clutch shots, who was defending at a high clip tonight, and him shooting 4 of 7 from the three-point line, but being a -3 in a win seems very, very weird to me. But those are the stats so far. So I wish Avery Bradley would, have a better offensive game in this next stretch, right? It would be great to see him find his rhythm on the road so that when he comes home, he's already established. I would love to see him not only have the defensive mentality, but his offense pick up a little bit before Milwaukee. That's going to be the true test for us. Is not only are we going to be on the road in Milwaukee, but it's going to be at the end of a road trip. Okay, so that means we're going to be traveling, and then we play the team that has the same record as us. Okay, so it's going to be good to see that, but. It was good depth-wise to see him back in there. It's just interesting because we haven't seen him come off the bench. But right now he's going to be coming off the bench, and he may be coming off the bench the rest of this road trip. Okay, so either way we win because if KCP's hitting shots the way he did tonight, and Avery Bradley comes off the bench and is defending the way he was, we're unstoppable, guys. We're unstoppable. Jay Watson 0984, I see you, bro. We got to get on that Kuzma topic. Yeah. So I mentioned this when he rolled his ankle. If you guys didn't know, if you didn't watch the game, Kuzma was held out tonight, as well as Rondo. Rondo we know is going to be in and out because of the calf. They're going to be watching his calf, watching his hamstring, just making sure anything that feels tight, they're going to make sure that they shut it down for him because they know he's a contributor and they know he's a floor general, and they would rather sacrifice him for a game or 2 or 3 than for months. Okay, so that's, and he was injury prone last year, okay? Like I know he had like a messed up hand and messed up finger and he got suspended and all that stuff, but we need Rondo. But Kuzma, the reason why this is a bigger deal tonight is because this is from an injury that happened 2 weeks ago. And what I said was him coming back from that ankle injury seemed very weird for him to come back that fast, okay? We all clearly saw him roll his ankle. We saw when he got back in the same game that he rolled his ankle, he was clearly not the same. And so in my mind, he was going to be sitting out some games to get healthy. Well, that didn't happen. He was right back into the lineup, and it's obvious that he has not been able to be himself. He's been functional, but wounded. He's been functionally wounded, okay? And so I am actually very happy that they decided as a medical team and a medical staff, let's just shut it down, and let's just figure out how to get that ankle healthy. Once again, Kuzma is going to be a contributing scorer on this team. But his health issues right now are a problem. And part of me feels like this was the worry about him doing Team USA basketball. Am I attributing this rolled ankle to that? Absolutely not. These are 2 completely isolated events. But the issue is that it's taking so much longer for him to get into a rhythm because he got hurt during Team USA basketball. Okay? Had he been able to do Team USA, not get hurt, jump right back into training camp with the Lakers, that probably would have been a huge plus for us. I don't think it would have been worth the risk, especially the way the USA ended during that Olympic run. Even with Kuzma being out, it just wasn't worth it. So to watch his injury is going to be very strange. I hope they keep him out the next couple of games. I hope instead of trying to bring him back in and bring back Bradley and potentially Rondo all at the same time, I think they should let Avery Bradley get his legs underneath him, get some good minutes in, and then bring Kuzma back when he's fully healthy and fully ready so that he can get integrated, make a run, get conditioned, have his shot fall the way he wants, find his place, find his identity on the court, and become part of a 3-headed monster, which we know he can be. How much different would this game have been had you seen Kuzma score 20 off the bench? Okay? We wouldn't even been worried, right? We wouldn't have been worried. LeBron and AD could have got some more rest. But we need Kuzma healthy for that to be a reality. So I hate it, man. I really do hate it. But I'm glad that they're sitting him down. Laker Metropolis, Dudley is going to be the greatest locker room presence that the Lakers ever had. And remind you guys, listen, Dudley fought to get on the team, okay? When they heard all the news, Dudley talked about it. He's like, yo, man, he got cleared through LeBron and cleared through AD. Like, yo, man, let me come on. Let me do the veteran minimum. Let me come in and be a locker room presence for you guys. And this is what we want from him. Okay, this is what we want from him. For 2 reasons. There's 2 reasons why, okay? One of the main reasons why is because somebody who carries that kind of momentum and weight personality-wise takes the pressure off of LeBron having to hold that. Okay, if you watched the Cavs championship run, one of the things LeBron was talking about was having to be that leader that held it all together. Okay, that held it all together, and that's hard. Like that's hard, man. Like that's hard to be able have to go out there, defend, score, do assists, and then come back in the locker room and make sure that nobody is having any issues. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot, right? So for Jared Dudley to come in and take that weight off of AD and LeBron is huge. But on top of that, him being able to show a culture for the young guys, for the Carusos and for these guys, for them to be able to see a veteran come in and go, listen, this is how it rolls, man. Like if you know where your role is, play your role to the fullest, and know that your locker room presence is just as important as outside. He's good for Dwight. I think part of Dwight's ability to stay tempered right now and stay even keel is because there's a Jared Dudley in there. And how great is that for Dwight to know that my boy got ejected? He was hot. He was 3 of 3 from the 3-point line. And for him to sacrifice the rest of his playing time, knowing that Jared Dudley may not play for the next 5 games, he goes, I would rather get ejected to show you how much I have your back than for me to kind of stay away from that. And so, like, that's the veteran leadership that you're looking for. And I'm so glad we picked him up. I know he wasn't on our initial radar, but it's so good to see him doing his thing. Now, I'm gonna finish out the rest of these questions, and we have to talk about something that happened today that was very big in my eyes. Blake St. Clair, Phalanx, great X-Men storyline as an off-topic comment. Yes. LeBron's leadership was on display again tonight. He came in and stabilized the game in the second half. He did. Here's the problem that we're going to need to correct, especially before Milwaukee. This is why Rondo is so important. When the game started getting out of hand, AD is a tremendous player. Works best when there's somebody who can orchestrate the offense around him. When he was with Rondo and Boogie in New Orleans, they were able to do some damage because he had a floor general, okay? As much as I love Drew Holiday is not a floor general, okay? You need somebody with a high basketball IQ who knows how to set up and see passing lanes and do all of that stuff. For LeBron to have to come in as often as he did, once again, he was plus 35 minutes tonight. For him to have to come in and do all of that floor generalization, for him to have to come in and orchestrate, is fine. We want him to do that. He loves doing that. He's talked about that before. But for him to have to do it is one thing. For him to get to do it is another. For him to be able to say, we have enough depth that I can run point guard and we're all good, is a beautiful thing. For him to have to come off the bench on short rest in these little spurts because we keep losing leads when he's not in and our offense is stagnant is a problem. We need Rondo back, or we need Caruso to be able to pick up his basketball IQ just a little bit more and be able to orchestrate this defense, man, because otherwise we're going to be in trouble. Now, real quick, I want to talk about this. Today the Lakers did something really crazy that I did not see coming, okay? They waived Zach Norvell. If you remember Zach Norvell, he was a Summer League revelation, okay? He was great and did his thing there, okay? There was also a guy named Devontae Kakak, okay? Devontae was great. He showed plenty of energy, and they, to me, seem like a great future for the Lakers. Today, the Lakers waived Zach Norvell Jr. I don't quite know why. It shows you he was averaging 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in 24 minutes a game. I don't know if there's something that they saw that caused them to do that, but it was very, very weird. Kakak was undrafted when he came in. So he's averaging 16 points, which is more than Zach Norvell. But my biggest issue was that, we have bigs already, and maybe they're thinking about the future, thinking about him being another Montrezl Harrell type, him being another Thomas Bryant type, if that will. Huge energy, will do the dirty work in the paint, that kind of stuff. And maybe that's it, because he averaged 11 rebounds as well. But they signed him to a 2-way contract, Devontae to a 2-way contract, but they waived Zach Norvell. And so that's going to affect how we move forward as a team. It's not going to affect us right now. Our depth is fine. But as you start seeing people come in, people getting called up and things like that, you're going to start noticing who they're putting their trust for the future in. And we saw a move today that some of us didn't expect. I think a lot of us expected a lot of Zach Norvell because of his dog mentality, because of his offense. But It did not happen. Okay, the Maria show. Sorry, Miss Triple Double arrives. That's right, Miss Trip Dub. She showed up. She was almost late to the game, but she showed up tonight. The Maria show. Alex can't conduct. He cannot yet. Okay, Alex is a revelation, obviously, to us as the guy we watched come up through G League and finally get his shot. But I believe with proper training and with focus on it, his defense is fine. His defense is I would consider almost elite. But what we really need is if he's able to produce offensively, and he has to be able to get to the cup and finish. He is having a huge issue finishing. It feels very, very Lonzo-esque, where we knew Lonzo could get to the cup, but he couldn't finish. And he has the length, okay? He has the length. He has the athleticism, but we need him to be able to not only orchestrate, but finish at the rim. It's going to do wonders for how the floor space is open. Right now, the other team attributes most of their energy to guarding him at the three-point line. And if he gets by them, which we've seen plenty of times, they just funnel him into the paint knowing that he's probably not going to finish, okay? And not only is he not going to finish, he's not going to get the foul call. So we've seen that almost every game where he goes inside. At least one time he goes inside, he's going to get blocked. That's not good. That's not good. So we want him to be able to orchestrate and be able to finish. Kakik is killing it. I've been watching South Bay Laker games, and he's a wing. Yeah, he's a wing. Yeah, he's got it, man. I have no doubt in his ability. I have no doubt that he's going to be not just a contributor, but I think he has the potential to be a starter in the league if he continues to grow and get groomed and nurtured, you know what I mean, into a true NBA player. But I just didn't see the waving of Zach Norvell. It just felt out of the blue. I think a lot of us, if you check the Twitter timeline, we were all trying to figure out the move. We understood Devontae being signed. We didn't understand Zach being waived. And that was the hard part of putting those two things together. They wanted the new two-ways size instead. And that's LeBron ND fan. Yeah, it's very apparent that Frank Vogel values size, which I have no problem with. I mean, it's played into our favor. But I think the Maria show says this well. Kakik was just better. He's 6'7", and a physical defender, and that's where we're looking at. The thing that I'm thinking of that caused Zach Norvell not to be signed or to be waived was that his defense was not on point. And I said this before. I said the thing that's going to cause them to get called up and to be efficient is, do they fit in a Frank Vogel defensive system? And Devontae obviously fits that mold far better than a Zach Norvell. If you look at the score tonight, we didn't score 100 points. Frank Vogel don't care about that. But the fact that we kept the other team under 90 points is what he cares about. And Devontae can do that, man. Yeah. Yes, it's a move all about size. Yeah. He's not a big. He's more of a wing and can defend on the perimeter. Yeah. Well, at 6'7" and at his size, you call him a big, right? You call him a big. I know even some people say Anthony Davis is not a big. Anthony Davis is a big, okay? Their ability to defend bigger defenders are bigger players on the offensive end. That being able to do that is huge. And so I have no problem with him being signed. But the thing that's coming to my mind as we're going through this tonight is that Zach probably had some issues on the defensive end that wasn't going to fit into their long-term future, because the guards that we have that get playing time can defend. Once again, we talked about Troy Daniels getting 7 minutes tonight. It's probably because of his defensive side, not his shooting side, because he's fine shooting, but his defense probably had a problem. Word is that Zach is going to be re-signed with the South Bay Lakers, the Maria show. That's probably the word. But remember, in this G League place, movement around to different G League teams is far more frequent than we think. Okay, and so I would love to see him on the South Bay Lakers developing. But if his defense is not picking up, he may have a problem even coming up, being called up to the roster. On a two-way contract. The Maria show. Thank you for reading my tweets. Of course, thank you for tweeting. I appreciate it. LeBron ND fan. Game Friday going to be amazing. ESPN showing up to do their pregame show from Miami. Yes, it's going to be off the chain, man. I can only imagine, man. Could you imagine being a Laker player? Having the record that you have, championship aspirations. Everybody is feeling each other. Y'all have unity, and you're going to Miami as a team. not just Miami. It's the last place that it's one of the places that last place that LeBron was part of a dynasty, right? When he won in Cleveland, he wasn't a part of a dynasty. He had to carry that entire team on his back. But going back to Miami, where him and Wade, like the last time he had a superstar duo, with championship aspirations like that, like that's heavy. Like, you know what I mean? Like him and Kyrie didn't really get along as well. It was much more of a big brother, little brother type thing. But like him and Dwayne made some history there in Wade County, man. So to watch them go back in there, and now Bron's coming in with a fresh championship expectation, new team, that's going to be excellent. And it's going to be on a Friday night, so it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I hope everybody tunes into ESPN to watch that game. We're all going to talk about it as soon as it's over. We're going to be on here live together. Okay, let me keep going. Alex can't conduct with limitations of some of the players around him. Only LJ and Doe can. Yeah. So LeBron and Rondo are obviously champions. They're obviously huge veterans. Caruso has to learn. People forget. Rondo had to learn as well. He talked about that. That the way that the veterans rode him, the KGs and the Paul Pierces, rode him about how to operate with his basketball IQ. He always had that, even in the days of Kentucky. But the biggest thing is being able to implement that with people who are looking for touches, people who are looking for their spot, people who understand the offensive set way better than some of the other people on the team. Being a point guard, like what Caruso really is he's going to have to learn how to develop that. And I think this is going to be the season you're going to see him start to make that development. You're going to see his weaknesses early. You're going to see his strengths later. So, Lakers need a wing defender, and we have enough offensive guards. Larina Show. That's the honest to God truth. The honest to God truth. What we are missing is much more. We need more. We need like another Avery Bradley and another Caruso. Like if we had two more of those that we could sub in just randomly to shut people down, it would be amazing. The Marina Show, yes. The Marina Show, 100% Vogel is happier with the Magic game than the Wolves game. All the way. I'm telling you, when I saw that Wolves game and I saw that we scored a team high, but I saw how many points we let them jokers score, I said Frank Vogel will let them have it. He gonna let them have it because that's a good win in the span of we did what we were supposed to do. Horrible win in the span of you did not do what you're supposed to do in the defensive end. Like that's you don't let a team get that much on you, and the only person they really have is Karl Anthony Towns, who Anthony Davis was putting a beating on. Okay, so yeah. THT is defensive minded and got called up. Exactly. He not only is he defensive minded, but he's long. The boy's wingspan is on like mutant status. The dude can do a lot with his hands. His dribble is nice. His offensive game is nice. That's cool. But if he's doing what he's supposed to do, defensively, he could be a contributor on this team. I don't think he's going to get much time in. He got no time in tonight. I don't think he's going to get much time in, but it's coming. His time is coming. I think closer to the All-Star break, you might see more of him getting some significant time. And, of course, if our record justifies it, there will be load management heading into the playoffs. They're going to give AD rest. They're going to give Braun rest. They're going to give Rondo rest. They're going to give Dwight rest. And you're going to start seeing like the Devontaes. And you're going to start seeing like the THTs get in there and prove their point. So we'll see how that's going to go. LeBron Indy fan. Orlando size and wingspan gave AD more problems than LeBron. Kind of surprising. Orlando is long. Yes, but let me tell you the problem. Okay? This is the problem that I have with Anthony Davis. Okay? When Anthony gets tired, he settles for the jump shot. And we can't have that happen. Him getting to the free throw lines twice tonight, but he shot 20 times, that means he obviously was not going to the paint. That is often as he should have. The issue that he had tonight was that he was doing a lot of jump shots, a lot of front-facing, spot-up jump shots, which he should not have done tonight. He reverted back to something that we are desperately trying to get him away from doing, okay? He did it tonight. He's going to do it again at some point. It's the place that he keeps himself when he's struggling. He's going to revert back to what he feels is safe. And that jump shot, even though it was falling on some of those shots, he only hit 6 out of 20. He only hit 6 out of 20. That's not good. That's not good, man. That's not good. I want to see him doing something a little bit different. I want to see him when he's struggling or he's not getting foul calls. I want to see him challenge himself to find a different way. I think when you think about a Shaq, Shaq didn't have to do anything different. He was just so daggone big. All he had to do was just get in the paint. Throw me the rock. Throw me the rock, and I'm good. Throw me the rock, I'm good. Anthony Davis has much more athleticism than Shaq has. Doesn't have the size. He has much more options. His array of offensive options is so much wider than what Shaq had. And so he's going to have to explore those spaces in these games and stop just settling. Because him only scoring 6 baskets tonight was part of the reason why that score was the way it was. It was part of the reason why they were able to dwindle down that lead was because he was trying things he should not have been trying. That's the bottom line on that. So, the Maria show. I think Davis was tired today. I feel like the whole team went party. I don't know if Orlando's a party city. It's much more of a tourism family city. I would expect that in Miami. But here's one thing that I do know. They know Jimmy Butler. They respect Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler's going to disrespect them. He's going to disrespect them verbally. Okay? I don't know what kind of game Jimmy going to have. But I'm not worried about AD's tiredness in that game. Okay? I almost kind of wish Whiteside was still on Miami because I would love to see Whiteside and him match up with Jimmy Butler talking trash. But I expect that team to come fully prepared to shut down Jimmy Butler's mouth because he gonna talk. He gonna talk real crazy. Okay. Not only that, they have outside shooting, which means they're gonna be doing a lot of screen sets, and we're gonna have to run through screens. Gonna be a lot of chasing that Tyler Hero kid. There's going to be a lot of that, okay? So we're going to, I know they're going to be locked in, much more locked in and focused than they were against the 26th ranked offense in Orlando. All right, Laker Metropolis. I would assume that Kakik would have a little similarity of hustle like Fareed. Yeah, Fareed, Montrezl Harrell, yada, yada. Those manimals that they call them, right? Like that's what Devontae kind of gives you. That's what Kakik gives you. He gives you that He gives you that mindset of a dirty dog. I'm getting in there. I'm energy. I'm hype. Once again, almost like what Thomas Bryant was energy wise, but exactly what you said. Fareed getting in there, getting rebounds, averaging double-digit rebounds in the G League. You could expect it to translate to maybe 6 or 7 in the NBA, right? In the big league, which is good for somebody his size. Can he score? He obviously can score. We saw that during preseason. The boy can get to the cup like nobody's business. He's good at putbacks. He's good at offensive rebounds. So I love where he's headed. Once again, I got to make sure I just preface this. I have no problem with him being signed. If he didn't get signed, it would be a bigger travesty to me than Zach Norvell being waived, in my eyes. Last year, LeBron dropped 50 on Miami. Can't wait. That's right. People forget that. LeBron went back in Miami and let everybody know. I'll hurt all y'all with my game. So, and expected a much more focused LeBron because now he got blocked. It's the first time it happened tonight, okay? Every other time that he dunks on somebody, he hashtag Wash King, talks about how high he is, and, it's rare air up there. I can't hear y'all talking from where I'm at up here. But tonight, he went up, and they delayed his flight. And he came right back down. There was a malfunction in the air or something. They called that boy right on back down. And so expect him to come out. Those kind of things stick to his mind. Because as soon as he goes to his Instagram and as soon as he goes to ESPN as he's getting on the plane, they're going to play that back. The king gets blocked. Skip Bayless going to talk about it on Monday or tomorrow. You already know about it. That's going to motivate him heading into Friday. So I'm actually kind of happy that he got blocked. Lake Metropolis is very true. Maria Show. Agreed on Alex. I love what I've seen from him. Yeah, he's given us way more than we expected. I think some people were kind of excited he got signed, but a little bit worried because the roster didn't quite make sense. As the rosters begin to fill out, we see how valuable Alex is, how valuable Rondo is, how valuable KCP. This is not the stuff we were saying in the Clipper game. We weren't saying oh my God, Rondo is so valuable, but he is. He's shown himself to be valuable, and we saw it tonight. We won. But it was a much more stagnant offense when LeBron wasn't on the floor. The Maria Show, a taller Alex and Avery would be heaven. It would be. And Andre, think about that. Alex, Avery, and Andre, the AAA. That's what that would be the AAA defense, man. I can see it in my mind already. Listen, let me just help you guys real quick because there's a lot of conversations we had in the Showtime forum Twitter about potential trades and signings and all of that stuff. The only way we're getting at Andre Iguodala is through a buyout. Okay, now another team could trade for him and then buy him out. That's clearly an option. Not sure who would do that. Some people would probably do that for a salary dump. But for us to be just realistic, nothing is probably going to happen on December 15th. December 15th is when the clock starts, and we have time after that. And so you're probably not going to see anything happen with Andre Iguodala in the month of December. Okay, you probably won't see very much of anything. Okay, so but that's the kind of defender that we need. That's the kind of defender that we need. I would love to see him. 7'3" wingspan, the Maria show. That's right. That's huge. Hands are Kawhi size. Yeah, but you don't have the mid-range of Kawhi. That's the problem. The Maria show. Yep, Davis looks like he could have done some rest today. Yeah, we probably would have lost if he would have sat, but it would have been a respectable loss for me. You know, I would have been all right. I would have loved to see, no joke, I would have loved to see Davis have a rest and then have Devontae come in. Like, that's one of those games where he gets to, like, prove himself and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you had to just let Anthony Davis play 5 or 10 minutes and just be ready in case Devontae fouled out, that would have been fine for me. Davis did have 6 assists tonight, though. Only Howard and Green had assists outside of LeBron. Yeah, Davis is going to have assists almost every game. Probably not as many as 6, but his ability to pass out, you know, once he gets it in the paint, they double, he kicks it out. But like tonight, they doubled late. So it was so perfect for him. Once they double, if they double early, generally it causes AD to hesitate a little bit longer because there's more time on the clock for him to work. But when it gets late in the clock and they double him late, then he has to kick it out because he doesn't have time to offensively work off that double. He has to kick it out, and that's what happened tonight. They made it very clear they were doubling AD and doubling LeBron tonight, and they did that well. The Maria show. Jimmy said the Lakers have the best duo and the best team. He's coming ready. Yeah, he respects it, and part of him saying that was not just him respecting what they have, but it's almost like that reverse psychology people do where they make you sound... The Patriots are really good at doing this. They talk so well about the other team that when they destroy them, it's that much more psychologically damaging. So I think he's trying to do that. Devon, what did you think of KCP tonight? He impressed me. This is the Maria show. Danny has 0-6 and has been disappointing. Danny is streaky. You guys understand that. What we need of Danny Green is playoff Danny Green. What he did earlier in the season where he hit that clutch shot, that's what we need of him. In my mind, just no joke, had it got real close and let's say he was still 0-6, I still would have said run the play for Danny to hit the shot because Danny would have hit that. He would have been 1-7 because that's what we brought him here for. He is that kind of player. He is that kind of contributor. He is not the guy that you go, okay, I'm going to give it to you every time and you're going to give me 45 to 50% of your shots. At least half of them are going to go in. That's not really Danny Green's game. Danny Green's game is my life is on the line. If I need one person to shoot the shot, who gonna do it? And that's him. He reminds you much more of like a Ray Allen, but without Ray Allen's consistency. Ray Allen's clutch shot gene is what he has, and that's what we need him to have. And, just to be honest, primarily what Frank Vogel is starting him for is not for his three-point shooting. It's for his defense. And so when he's able to play defense at a high clip, I can take the 0-6. As long as he hits the shot when he needs to hit the shot, as long as he defends the player that he needs to defend, I'm all for it. But KCP tonight was great. KCP has solidified himself as a starter going forward until Avery Bradley takes that crown from him. KCP is hitting his shots well. KCP is chasing through screens. KCP is not doing a lot of turnovers and stupid plays like he used to do. We didn't talk about one stupid play about KCP did tonight. Not one. We can't name one thing where he blew like just the easiest shot. Tonight he was great. Tonight he was great. I have no problem with him tonight. What I would love to see going forward, though, is I would love to see how we can integrate him and possibly Bradley working together a little bit more. KCP and Caruso have created a good defensive synergy. They know each other well on rotations and things like that. I would love to see that a little bit more synergized with Avery Bradley, because then that would allow us to really not just have depth, but we can really pair those guards together at any point in the game. And then let Rondo run the offense, let LBJ run the offense while they worry about defending and knowing defensive rotations. That'd be great. That would be fantastic. Let's see. Jay Longshore, haven't been able to pay much attention to South Bay, but how has THT been coming along? He's been great from what I've seen in the clips. A lot of conversation around him. Obviously, he's working himself out of injury, and that's the biggest thing. He's not really meant to be a two-way player. He's getting his development in the league right now, in the G League, but the goal, my assumption is that he would be on the bench in those games in the big leagues. I think that's coming. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for him. Once again, he was hurt for a long period of time. He didn't stop necessarily physical activity. He didn't gain a lot of weight and stuff like that. But he's not game ready. He's not game shape ready. Okay, and from the little time that we saw him when he got into that game, he immediately was like, I'm about to school this kid on offense. And he was doing, dribble step backs and all that stuff, which was fine in the context of that game. Not going to be fine in the context of Frank Vogel's overall system. So he's going to have to prove himself defensively more than anything. So I don't care how much he's averaging in the score. I want to know how well he's doing defensively and what's his plus minus, what's his defensive net rating, all those things. And that was from Jay Longshore 25. Salute to that. The Maria Show. Mo is like 7-3 and 21. Much expected. Yeah, Mo Bamba these people ain't scrubs. Isaac ain't no scrub. They're just on a bad team. But those guys, listen, if we have Mo Bamba on our team coming off the bench, get out of here. We'd be fine. We'd be great. We'd be fine. We let him go in there and get like 4 or 5 fouls. Do your thing, bro. Blake St. Clair, Skip already has a segment on the block planned. Yeah, he's going to have the video up. Look at this. Look at this. The king. He gets blocked. And I want him to do that because I don't care what LeBron says. He hears it. Somebody going to tag him in it. Mav going to hit him up about it. He gonna hear it. He gonna hear it. Okay, he gonna hear it. And the minute that he hears it, it's gonna do something to him. He gonna go watch. Okay, watch what happens. And I guarantee you, mark my words, people. What is this tonight? 7:17 y'all's time on the 11th of December. Mark my words. The minute that he goes back and posterizes someone, he is going to reference what people say between now and then. Guaranteed. If somebody says something on TV, he is going to reference it in an Instagram post. Mark my words. He going to posterize somebody on this road trip. He going to do it. And probably going to be somewhere in Miami. He going to posterize somebody. And the hashtag Wash King going to come up. And he going to mention what somebody said. Mark my words. All right. Here we go. You left out Anthony. Blake St. Clair. I left out Anthony. I'm not sure what part. Rondo playmaking and shooting helps Kuz, Davis, and the guards when LeBron is off the court. Yeah, man. He's good for that. Not only is Rondo good at playmaking, he's good at playmaking with AD. Once again, remember, the staggering rotation option is that when LeBron's off the floor, AD's on the floor, but the Pelican synergy that they had with AD and Rondo, They've started to create that with the Lakers. So the reason why Rondo's not just important to the overall scheme is that he can maximize AD's minutes while he's on the court. Then when AD comes off the court, LeBron comes in, Rondo can come off the court or stay on. The offense can continue to go. So you never really let off the gas offensively when you have that. You're going to lose a little bit defensively when you have Rondo on the court, just because. But Rondo makes up for it. Like, he talks trash at the free throw line. He'll antagonize you when you're inbounding the ball. He'll talk to the entire bench. Like Rondo's crazy, guys. I hope you all understand that. Rondo is nuts. He's the kind of nuts that we appreciate. Like, he has zero fear of anybody. He'll fight anybody. He'll talk to anybody. He'll say whatever he feels like saying. He is like Gary Payton, but like a little less like structured. Like he's very unpredictable. Okay. Like, him being on the court produces problems just by his presence and his mouth. Where his defense lacks, his mouth makes up for it. Just watch him. Just watch him. I really hope that somewhere in this Laker videography plan, they plan to mic my man up during this season. The Backstage Lakers, I want to hear Rondo mic'd up. I want you to hear some of the stuff this dude says. He's crazy. I love it. Iggy is also a good playmaker. Yes, Marisha, he is. Yes. LeBron could work with him, obviously. Okay, LeBron and Iggy have a great rapport with each other. They know each other. They respect each other's game. Their championships. They've won championships against each other, right? So they know each other's pedigree. You know what I'm saying? Hoping we can roll some teams so Tucker can get some play. He's intriguing. We are all waiting for it because listen, we didn't even have a draft pick. And when Pelinka was able to make the move and we got the draft pick and we picked him up, it was like, cool. Like, it was more like icing on the cake. We didn't expect to have a draft pick, but we got one. And we were able to make a pick. And we weren't really sure if he was going to be another gem like a Kuzma, another gem like a Josh Hart. But we were hoping he could be, like another Zubats. We didn't know what he was going to be. And so we're hoping to find that out this season. But he may not even reach fruition of his revelation of who he is until, I don't know, after the All-Star break. Okay, so, but you're right. We want to start beating teams down. So in the fourth quarter, with 5 minutes left, we throw in Talon and see what he can do. Yes, they keep doubling LeBron early. Yeah, they're going to continue to do that. Danny is streaky in the playoffs too. The last finals, he wasn't good. Fred took his minutes. To be frank, I'm assuming that's to be frank. Yeah, he actually was statistically he was great. but because he was able to put together long streaks. But yeah, he had some moments where it was just like, man, that's not good, yo. But don't get it twisted. Kawhi was able to rest on Danny, and Danny was able to pull up and do what he had to do when it was necessary. It's not that he had to have. He's not going to go like 4 of 7. Okay, he'll have some nights like that. But the main thing is, do you hit the 1 out of 7 when it matters? And that's what he's good for. I'm trying to wind this thing down, but y'all got this conversation going. I'm with y'all. Blank St. Clair, probably the best attribute for this team Iggy has is his consistency. Beautifully stated. Consistency, veteran leadership. He plays his role well. His hands, he's active with his hands in passing lanes. Of course, even with post-ups, he's known for the swipe. They talked about that at Golden State. His hands, I don't know if you ever seen him, his celebration when he keeps looking at his hand is because he has quick hands and he's able to knock the ball out when people are facing him up. That the last thing you want to do is face up Iggy, because if you show him the ball, he's going to go for it, okay? And he does it without fouling most of the time. So he would be incredibly, incredibly valuable to this team on a championship run. But we have to brace ourselves because Grizzlies are talking real crazy. There's a they're waiting for someone to trade. He's owed $17 million. Just to make the contract work in a trade would be crazy. I don't know what team is going to give up who. The only thing that would make sense, the only way it's going to make sense for the Lakers is through a buyout. The Memphis Grizzlies are not going to buy him out. That means that the only hope that we have, the prayer that we have, is that he gets included in a trade for a salary dump where he gets bought out for $17 million, so that somebody can get freed up for next year's, or for the next free agency. That's the only thing I can think of. Outside of that, it's very possible you ain't gonna see Iggy this year. So. Do you think the Lakers will give up on Kyle Kuzma? SHMUFC. Nope. Absolutely not. No. They're not going to give up on Kyle Kuzma. They've seen too much. Okay? You got to understand this. Like, we saw a lot of Lonzo. But because we saw so much, we also saw his ceiling. And when you look at the possibility of an AD paired with Alonzo, when you already have a LeBron that's going to be running point and already have a Rondo that's going to be running point, Lonzo would be your third ball handler, which I guess right now would be kind of cool, but for the most part, wouldn't matter. He's a good defender, but for the most part, he's going to miss free throws. He's not going to be a tremendous shooter. He's much better this season than he was last season, but he's still not great. That, and you see the trend of health issues. You see that trend, okay? Do I bet my future on a Kyle Kuzma, who has shown that he has the ability to score all the way from his summer league season game to his contributions throughout the seasons when he was with the Lakers to getting on to Team USA and doing what he was doing there? Do you trust that trend more than you trust Lonzo trend? And I'm telling you, they cut bait with Lonzo because they trust Kyle's trends much more. And they're going to trust not only because they know his ceiling is much higher than Lonzo's is when it comes to being an offensive threat, but they also know that LeBron loves him. And they know that he knows how to play off of LeBron in the right system. The difference between last season and this season for Kyle Kuzma is that LeBron plays better with AD than he does with Kyle, and Kyle now has to figure out how does he operate as the third option as opposed to the second option. Okay, when it was LeBron and last year, let's not get it twisted. LeBron was always going to be the first option, but Kyle Kuzma was primarily our second option when it came to scoring. He had the touch. We just waiting for him to do a floater. We're waiting for him to hit a three. We're waiting for him to do a step back. And we're going to look for him to do that again. His ceiling is much higher. They're not going to give up on that kid. KCB has been helping with playmaking too, making the right reads. The Maria Show. Absolutely. Can't give up on a 12 to 18 point scorer who earns $2 million. That's right. And here's what's great. I probably shouldn't say this because this is going to sound negative. But because he's struggling, it makes contract negotiations much easier. Much easier than a Brandon Ingram. Right? And really much easier than Alonzo because in a contract negotiation, you have to deal with Lonzo's daddy. So, I hate saying that, but that's the truth. SCHMUFC, what did you make of Bradley's minutes? It was good to see him just back on the floor. Good to see him active. Good to see his defense. I had zero expectations of him offensively. It's his first time on this team coming off the bench. It was his first time playing as a limited amount of minutes. He's trying to find himself again, trying to find his way back again. But the first thing he went back to was defense. Okay? Defense. And he did his thing tonight, and I was actually happy to see him. The Maria Show has not been consistent scorer we need. THT is a guard who can dribble and create his own shot. We need that. The Maria Show. Yeah. Isaac is leading the league in blocks. Yes, he is, but that's only because he's on a horrible team that has horrible defense, and they keep letting people into the paint. He doesn't guard well on the perimeter. He guards much better towards the paint. AD can guard on both. You saw AD block a 3-point shot from behind the shooter, jumping from out of bounds. Isaac ain't doing that. So he may have more blocks, but he's not as effective blocker as AD. If you put Isaac on the Lakers, he wouldn't be the leading shot blocker. I'm saying he's been up and down. He's not consistent with scoring. Everyone gets blocked in the NBA, though. Giannis gets dunked on and blocked all the time. It's ageism. Yes, it's ageism, but it's also egoism. LeBron's ego, he gets fueled. The whole Wash King movement is because he heard people talking. That's what I love about LeBron. He hears you talking, and that's it. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. The reason why we didn't see this side of Kobe is because people knew better. That's the difference. Ain't nobody gonna talk crazy to Kobe. Ain't nobody. The people who did either became his teammates or they became TV analysts who pay homage to him later. Okay? They knew it. The minute that I say something crazy to Kobe, he gonna turn something on and I'm not gonna be able to stop him. For LeBron, what I love is LeBron doesn't necessarily do it in game, but the next game, when he has enough time to marinate in what people have been saying, he goes, okay, cool. I got you. No worries. No worries. And he gonna catch a body. I'll say it now. He's gonna catch a body in Miami. Y'all hit the Twitter and Showtime forum when he catches a body because he's gonna hear it. He gonna hear it. And I love it. I need it. It's part of the reason why I'm almost happy when we lose because I need people to start talking so he gets so fueled that it spills off to the rest of the team. I got to get out of here, guys. Let's get going. Blake St. Clair. I was talking about the all-A defensive unit. And Anthony, yes, dude. But you were talking about the bench. No, that's right. Avery, Alex, Anthony, Andre. I'm not even sure what you call that. The Four Horsemen. I don't know what you call that. But that right there, ooh, boy. You just got me hyped. Blake, you just got me, you got me mad hyped, man. We got to get Andre Iguodala now. Do what y'all got to do. Get on Twitter and start just bombing away at my man. Because I heard if he gets bought out, it's between the Clippers and the Lakers. The Clippers shouldn't even be an option. I'm not even sure why that's an option, yo. They're not winning a championship. I just got hyped. 4 A's. It makes all the sense. It's a marketing campaign. I'm going to talk to Javier about doing something with that. He had Bazemore hot in the Portland game. Yep. The Maria Show. Yep. Why do you think Frank Vogel really took that job, Rodney 100? Yeah. The Maria Show. We see it. THT is a Clutch client too. I'm not sure how much I read into the Clutch thing, but I get what you're saying. Everyone thought it was an inside job between Rich and Rob. I don't know. Rodney 100. Why do you think Frank Vogel really took that job for? LeBron beat him when he was in Indiana. LeBron paid homage to Vogel because of how hard it was for LeBron to win. It wasn't like the Pacers got swept. The Pacers used to put it on LeBron. Like, it was hard, yo. And he got someone like a Roy Hibbert to look like an all-star center. He got Roy Hibbert. That's the same guy who came to the Lakers and drove his own moving van here from Indiana. Frank Vogel got him to look that. So Frank Vogel is a valuable coach that now has earned and garnered the respect of not only every other coach in the league, but every other player. Because look what he's doing with the defensive mindedness of this team and controlling egos. Danny is a Laker Indy fan. LeBron Indy fan, sorry. Danny is a big-time player, and his defense is always good. That's right. Do you hit the shot when it matters? Period. Agreed. Danny always gives you good spacing. Iggy, not Kawhi, has defended LeBron the best historically. Yep. The Maria Show Pelicans have moved Zoe to the bench, and we needed his salary alongside B.I. Yeah, that's the truth. Howard, Kuz, LeBron, Rondo, and Alex lineups have been a plus 24, which is good. Once again, it reads weird in the plus-minus for me because KCP was fired tonight, and he was -3. I don't know how to operate with the plus-minus just yet. It doesn't give you the whole story, but that's very good to know. Is that lineup, like in those lineups, they've been plus 24. That's good. The British Show. Magic are a top 10 defense in the league. Their offense is 28th. Yeah, I mean they held us below 100 points. They still didn't win though. And chalk it up for the Lakers, man. Another win. I cannot believe how much we're winning on the road. It's actually crazy. They said Kobe was trash. A ball hog. Couldn't win without Shaq, was a number 2, etc. The Mirror Show. Okay. LeBron dunking on Bam on Friday. I wouldn't doubt it. Faceless God, for the most part, this was a confusing game. Number one, couldn't figure out how a team like this can give up a big lead. Number two, offensively, we missed playmakers aside from LBJ. Glad we got him in AD. Faceless God, you're right. I'm going to be honest, even without AD, if it just been LeBron and the previous cast that we had, we would have lost that game. Hands down. The radio show media went after him. That's right. The A team. Everybody mark that down. SCHMUFC with the tweet of the night. If we get Andre Iguodala, then we're putting those 4 A's together, and we officially have the A team. How many were in the A team? Weren't there only 4? There was 4 in the A team, right? 5 of them? I can't remember. But all I know is that is it. Mark that down. Favorite that tweet. Retweet that. I don't know if somebody's watching Showtime. Y'all mark that tweet because we have to make a graphic for that. When we get Andre, we're releasing the A team. I'm going to do a video for it. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Blake St. Clair. That's it. Ty wanted Vogel as his assistant. See? That lets you know. And now Ty's the assistant. Oops. Who's Mr. T? Anthony, Andre, Alex. I don't know yet. I don't know. I know who Alex is. Alex is that crazy one. Who's the crazy one? The crazy guy. Yeah, that's Alex. Yeah. But I don't know who Mr. T is. Thanks for reading out my questions and comments. Always awesome to comment on this show. Of course, I appreciate you guys. Listen, it's been 1 hour and 7 minutes. I haven't gone this long in a long time. But I'm appreciative of it. Let's do our norm as we do with the end of the post game. Let's look ahead. And forgive me, guys. I can't see your comments right now. Let's look at the schedule, what's coming up. And let's remind ourselves of what we have to look forward to on this road trip. Once again, we are 22-3, guys. 22-3. Of course, we're number 1 in the Pacific standings. But the real head-on collision is going to be with the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 21-3. They're probably going to win all their games heading into the same thing. They're on a 15-game win streak. While we're on a 5-game win streak. We've been doing well with our streaks and extending them every time. We may not do it this road trip, but we'll see. But with that being said, let's look at our schedule and see what we can identify as possible wins and, of course, possible losses. Tonight was an anomaly. We knew we were going to win this game, but it did put a slight amount of fear inside of us because it didn't happen the way that we thought it was going to happen. But we're going to Miami. It's going to be a much tougher team. We tend to play better against tougher teams. I'm expecting that to be another defensive struggle. I expect that they're going to have great perimeter shooting against us. Once again, we are horrible at defending the 3, but it doesn't seem to matter because it takes a team to be extremely hot from 3 in order to beat us. Luka Doncic was able to do what he did to beat us in the third quarter because he got hot with his shooting from the perimeter. But for us, we're going to have to make sure that we keep an eye on how we defend the line and how we defend the paint. They're coming for us, okay? Looking at Miami as a team, I don't care about their record as much because the East is a little bit weird. They're 18-6. Of course, we've already beat them before. But what we're looking at for them is that they have they're first in their division, okay? They're first in their division, so that matters. And I believe their last game was a win against the Hawks. Now, what I am noticing is that they give up a lot of points, okay? They give up a lot of points. Most of the wins that they have and losses, the teams are above 100. Most of their wins, the teams are above the 100. So just imagine for us that we are able to score 100. We get back on the offensive track, but we hold them under 100. That would be ideal for us in that game. Of course, getting LeBron and AD at a 30 max for the whole game would be great, but we don't know. We don't know how the depth chart's going to look. I don't expect Kyle Kuzma to be back by Friday. Maybe Rondo will be back by Friday, but they're going to be extremely cautious with him. So we don't know what to expect from that. But it's still a winnable game, even with Kuz and Rondo on the bench. It's still a winnable game. I think Avery Bradley will contribute a little bit more. They're going to extend his minutes a little bit more. They'll probably test him tomorrow, see how he's feeling. Is he sore? Is there anything going on with that? And then they'll give him an opportunity to extend his minutes in that Friday game. I'm almost positive. Atlanta's another game that we consider a trap game. That's a team who is below 600, far below 600. They're 6-18. We've already beat them before, of course. But Trae Young is a problem. He's always a problem. Now, I don't know what's going on over there, but he got benched during some crucial minutes in the closing of a game. I'm not sure why. But they recently just lost to the Bulls. They got blown by the Bulls. They also lost to the Heat. But so they're having some issues. But it's also a trap game. They can get back on track. They play the Pacers before they play us, and so we'll get a chance to see how they're going to respond after that Pacer game. But that's also a trap game. So just beware of that. That's a trap game. For that one. Okay, now we're leading up into Milwaukee. That's what we're trying to get to right now. I'm trying to go through everything right quick, and yep. So then we have Indiana, which is a winnable game, but once again, that is a team that plays us rough and hard. Okay, so we have to be prepared for that. But this is all leading up. If we can get through Miami, Atlanta, and Indiana, and we can do those games well while getting Anthony and LeBron some good, valuable rest, I think we'll be good. But once we head into Milwaukee, that's going to be the showdown for the lowdown. That sets the tone for Denver and LA after that when we play against the Clippers. And I think it's going to be tough. This is a tough stretch of games, guys. Tough stretch of games. But I believe in our boys, and I know you do too. So listen, I'm going to sign off, read these last few comments, and I'm out of here. The Maria Show. I'm coming every game. I used to just listen to the podcast. Have you taken over since it's not the weekend? I'm filling in as much as I possibly can when I can. I won't be available every game. I have too much going on, and I'm traveling back and forth between here and LA. But when I can, I will. In fact, I'll be in LA in about 3 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. Agreed, but the Mavs won because our bench was horrible. We need them to contribute. Of course, always. The bench play is going to be the real tone setter. If the bench can come in and sustain leads, we're in good shape. Dragic is out for Miami. He's their biggest bench threat. I think with a team like that, even with Dragic being out, all it takes is for one person to get hot. And it's a problem, okay? My eyes are on Tyler Hero. Like, he is finding his confidence playing alongside Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy got these boys playing, man. He got these boys playing. They're not first in their division for no reason, okay? I know the East is not a great, standard setter, but they're doing great. And we want to make sure. Lakers versus Bucks is Christmas coming early. It's the pre-show. It's what we call the warm-up to the tour date. When artists go on tour, they always do one date right before it just to test out if their material's working. That's how we're going to know. Is Milwaukee's going to let us know if we're prepared for the Clippers. One thing I do know is no matter what happens in that game, we ain't getting blown out by no 36. Nah, that ain't happening. That's not happening. Not when LeBron averages 60 to 80, they make it up. Yeah. They're three of their kids combined 70. Man. Listen, I'm out of here, guys. I appreciate you. Looking forward to it. I will see you guys on Friday night when we play in Miami. It's going to be a 6 o'clock game, so it's going to be a fairly early game. But send spirit bombs all over the place to these players. Let them know in their DMs how much you appreciate their play. Of course, continue to follow Showtime Forum. We have so much coming up. We're still cooking in the kitchen. And so we're trying to get some things together, but I'll be back for you for the next pregame show. I appreciate you guys, and don't forget, if you want to listen back to this, the podcast will be up in the morning. And until then, we're still on top. Number 1 in the league, and I can smell Figueroa coming right now. Ooh, it feels so good. I'll